Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
Philadelphia protesters face off against police as they demonstrate against the death of Freddie Gray. Tonight, that city is on edge.
A wild pursuit leading police over sidewalks and grass at high speed. The driver, a 15-year-old girl.
Precious water gushing into the streets in Sherman Oaks as crews work hard to repair a water main break that's affecting a busy street and nearby businesses. Good evening, I'm Giovanna Lotta, in for Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ona, this is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And it's a tense evening in Philadelphia as protesters take to the streets, upset over the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. This is a scene near City Hall. Crowds have taken over the streets and sidewalks. There's even been some pushing and shoving between a group of marchers and police officers. Officers have since let the crowds pass, and the protesters continue marching right now. Here in Los Angeles, dozens are gathering for a vigil in memory of Gray. One of those attending is Michael Brown, the father of Missouri teen gunned down by police in Ferguson. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Grande is live in Leimert Park with more. Carlos?
Well, there is a march going on right now in the streets here around Leimert Park. Several activist groups have gathered here in the park, held a short rally and a news conference for Freddie Gray. They say they want to raise their voices for justice. Now, over the last few days, we've seen the video from angry protests all over the country in Baltimore, New York City, and other cities over the death of Freddie Gray. He died while in police custody. His spine was nearly severed. And there are unanswered questions as to what happened between the time he was placed in a police van and the time he arrived at the police station. There were several stops along the way, and so far no official details about what occurred at any of those stops. Now, at this rally this evening, one of the speakers is Michael Brown Sr. His son, Michael Brown, was shot and killed by police in Ferguson, Missouri, and that set off days of protests and rioting in that city.
We got to stop this. It got to be a change, somewhere. We got to talk to the youth. We got to get jobs for these kids, these men, to give them different things to do in life than just hanging out.
We want the world to know that Los Angeles is not pleased at what took place in Baltimore. We're calling today for police accountability across this nation.
And there you see video of the rally that occurred here in Leimert Park. Shortly after that, again, they started marching throughout the streets around the area. They say it's going to be a short march. Again, about maybe 100, 150 people marching through the streets. And these activists say that they're planning for economic boycotts and nonviolent protests to try to get their messages heard. Reporting live from Leimert Park tonight, I'm Carlos Grande, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Carlos, thank you. A nighttime curfew in Baltimore will remain through the weekend as people there protest the death of Freddie Gray. More rallies were held this afternoon in Baltimore. They come just after the police department turned over its findings in Gray's death to the district attorney's office. The DA will now determine if charges should be brought against any of the 6 officers involved in Gray's arrest.
This does not mean that the investigation is over. If new evidence is found, we will follow it. If new direction is given by the state's attorney, we will obey it and we will follow through with the investigation.
Authorities in Baltimore are expecting large marches this weekend. They say the curfew will remain in effect until leaders feel it's no longer necessary.
Startling story tonight out of LAX. A law enforcement official saying a live stick of dynamite was left on a plane at Los Angeles International Airport for 4 days. The dynamite was left in a compartment underneath the Spirit of 76 plane after a weekend training mission. The aircraft is featured at the Flight Path Learning Center. The dynamite was discovered on Tuesday. The official says the dynamite would have required a detonator or explosive to be set off. Airport police and the TSA are now investigating. In a wild pursuit today, the driver leading police on high speeds on roads and in and out of a park. When it finally ended, the person behind the wheel turned out to be a 15-year-old girl. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has the video plus more on what prompted the chase.
It was a wild and dangerous high-speed pursuit through the streets of South LA and Compton.
Picking up speed.
For roughly half an hour, the girl inside this silver Nissan Altima sliced through traffic, driving on the wrong side of the road and nearly slamming into a sheriff's patrol car.
The suspect in this case rammed that vehicle, actually intentionally swerving toward the deputy in the driver's portion, knocking the driver's door back into the car and very narrowly missing the deputy.
But if that wasn't enough,
up over curbs.
The driver took the chase off-road, plowing the car through Irvin Magic Johnson Park in Willowbrook, forcing parkgoers to sprint for cover.
The car came through here, and we all saw it, and we basically jumped in. I went behind this tree. I don't know what the situation is.
I never seen anything like that. I just normally see people just get on the freeway and go. I didn't know she was going to come through the park.
She came back around here, went through the dirt, hit that curb right there, tore up all that grass right there, went back over to the school, and the police was just everywhere.
The driver eventually left the park, moving north, where the pursuit ended near Imperial and Central, the girl slamming into an embankment hard enough to disable the car. Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Wow. Well, Air 7 HD caught another dangerous pursuit today. This one started in Seal Beach. Two men in a black minivan were wanted on drug-related charges. Police pursued them on a number of side streets before the van turned into a dead end in Watts. The two men inside then jumped out of the van while it was still moving. They fled on foot in different directions. One of the suspects even ran by a school. Both men were eventually caught and taken into custody.
A major cleanup and repair effort is underway in Sherman Oaks as streets and businesses are flooded due to a water main break. It's happening now near Ventura and Van Nuys Boulevards. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride takes a look at the impact.
Water from a broken water main quickly flooded the sidewalk and began flowing into 4 businesses on Ventura Boulevard. William Wiebers, a manager at Dog Bakery, was the first person to notice the underground rupture.
Then we saw a crack just start forming about 20, 30 feet down to the right side of the street, and then water just started oozing all the way out.
Our next door neighbor actually came over and yelled, called 911, there's a flood, and I looked outside, and about 5 minutes later, all the water started coming inside.
The fire department arrived on scene and tried to keep the water from advancing further into a cell phone store and 2 hair salons.
It was up to about that because that's when we started freaking out as it's hitting the outlet. Everybody needs to get out of the water.
The LADWP says an 8-inch main burst at about 12:45 this afternoon. The water level was too high for this French bulldog, but eventually receded. It's unknown what caused the pipe to fail. Crews will inspect and repair it and plan to reopen the westbound lanes tonight.
I would say probably anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So by 10 o'clock they should be back in. The road should be patched. The water should be back on. I would be out here doing some cleanup of the mud and debris and stuff.
The LADWP says the water main was installed in 1977. That's only 38 years old, and that's young compared to other mains that are more than twice that age still in the system. They do plan to have both lanes reopened by 10 o'clock tonight, and the LADWP does not have an estimate on just how many gallons were lost today. They say the water was flowing for at least 45 minutes. Reporting in Sherman Oaks, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Plans to build 2 skyscrapers in the heart of Hollywood have been halted by an LA County judge. The 1 million square foot complex known as the Millennium Hollywood had been given the green light by the city, but today the judge ruled the city council and the developer failed to properly study traffic and seismic concerns. If the developer wants to move forward, they will need a comprehensive environmental impact report, a process that could take years.
The victim in a vicious baseball bat hate crime attack in Rialto has died. 54-year-old Armando Barone was pronounced dead this morning at the hospital. The suspect, Jeremiah Bell, appeared for his arraignment today. Police say this is him in surveillance video captured just before Sunday's attack. His attorney began to enter a not guilty plea, but the judge ordered a mental evaluation first. Police say the beating was unprovoked. They say Bell attacked a complete stranger because he wasn't black. His attorney disagrees with the hate crime charge.
I really don't think that's the case. I think this is an incident of Mr. Bell being simply seriously disturbed psychologically.
Prosecutors plan to charge Bell with murder. His bail has been set at $700,000. And former rap mogul Suge Knight enters pleas of not guilty to charges of murder, attempted murder, and hit and run. A judge has ordered his murder trial to begin July 7th. Knight is accused of running over 2 men with his pickup truck at a burger stand in Compton. Knight's attorney, Matt Fletcher, requested bail be reduced from $10 million to $5 million, but the judge refused.
Relief supplies are pouring into earthquake-devastated Nepal, but is it enough? The death toll has now reached 6,000. British relief planes are landing in Kathmandu. This plane brought 18 tons of supplies and a team of Gurkha engineers. Helicopters are being used to distribute the supplies to isolated villages, and we have an incredible story of survival. After 5 days, a teenager has been pulled out of the rubble. An LA County search and rescue team was involved in the rescue.
It's what we call an entombment, so he wasn't specifically crushed, but what he was inside of a box with heavy concrete all around him. So the USAID teams, what we did is we worked side by side with the local teams, and we were there to assist them in getting this victim out.
The teen did not suffer any serious injuries. He says he found butter in a jar, which helped him survive for the long 5 days. He's now being treated at a local hospital.
We want to thank everyone who helped us raise almost $80,000 for the American Red Cross to help Nepal quake victims. Many did so by calling into our phone bank yesterday, and you can help as well. Just text the word Nepal to the 90999 to donate $10, or mail a check to ABC7 Nepal Disaster Relief Fund. That's P.O. Box 5967, Glendale, California 91221. Make your checks out to Red Cross Nepal Relief. You can also find the information on ABC7.com.
Speaking of relief, will we see some relief from the heat anytime soon? Here's Jonathan Novak. He's got your look at your forecast.
It's coming up, Giovanna. Today was not the relief that you're looking for, if you are looking for it, however. And we actually hit some records. It wasn't record highs. We hit a bunch of record low temperatures, what we call record high lows. It was really warm this morning is what that means. And then this afternoon into the 90s in many spots. Burbank. Wow, a nice time lapse there showing the cirrus clouds, those high clouds that we had yesterday, same today. And then highs looked like this. Pomona hit 95, Fillmore hit 94, 96 was your high in Riverside. It was toasty. Tonight's going to be another warm one, 73 in Long Beach. It will actually be tonight a little cooler than you saw the last couple of nights. We are starting a very slow cool down for the next day or two, and then a bigger one for the weekend. I will detail that later, but look at the temperatures still out there in the 80s for a lot of us. 70s and 60s at the coast. That hasn't really changed much. It's been nice and mild for you guys. The mild weather will be moving around Southern California for everybody. I will tell you when and how cool it gets coming up in a few minutes.
Jonathan, thank you. Up next, a tiger on the loose. The big cat escaped from its enclosure at an Oklahoma zoo today, and see what happened next.
Plus, we're learning more about a shark attack off a popular Hawaii beach that killed a woman.
And it's a gruesome mystery, 27 years old. Now, Orange County detectives are reopening the cold case, hoping to identify the victim and find the killer.
A scare at the Oklahoma City Zoo where a Sumatran tiger escaped from her pen. A visitor recorded this video. Zoo officials say the female tiger remained in an enclosed area and did not enter any area accessible to the public. But a code red was issued, meaning the public and staff had to be moved to a safe place because an animal was out of its designated area. The tiger was quickly found and shot with a tranquilizer. No one was injured. Officials are still investigating how the tiger got out of its area.
From Hawaii, we're learning more about the violent shark attack that took a woman's life. It's the first deadly attack on a popular Maui beach in decades. And we get more from ABC's Candace Gibson.
Tonight, close encounters with sharks appearing to turn deadly. A popular Maui beach closed off following the death of Margaret Cruz. The 65-year-old reportedly separated from two friends while out snorkeling. She was later found unresponsive, floating face down only 200 yards offshore. Officials saying her injuries were consistent with a shark attack. If confirmed, it's the first fatal shark attack in the U.S. since 2013. Here in Southern California, sharks also have this community on edge. Several great white sightings offshore prompting these warning signs. You can see from the air kiteboarders getting uncomfortably close to them.
This wakes you up a little bit.
Get out of the water! While deaths are rare, encounters are not. And 2/3 of all shark attacks on Earth take place in the U.S. In September, Ida Parker and Kristen Orr were kayaking off Cape Cod when a great white attacked. They made this 911 call from the water.
It was a seal?
No, there's something in the water.
Those bite marks a reminder that we share the water with some powerful predators. Candace Gibson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
That is scary. A brush fire near Westlake Village kept fire crews busy today. This is a look at the flames and smoke from Air 7 HD just before noon. There were homes not far from the fire, but none of them sustained any damage. At one point, more than 80 firefighters were on the scene working to contain the fire.
Well, luckily there were no high winds today, but seriously, there's hot temperatures, low humidity.
It's dry.
Yeah, those things. Now, the humidity's going to be going up a little in the sense that we have an onshore push that's developing. It's going to take a couple of days. Once we get it really kicking into high gear, the temperatures will follow suit and drop. And if you're done with this, well, we can't be done with it. We're heading towards summer.
I'm done with it.
You're done with it? All right. Well, every day I feel like there's nothing I can do for you today. We'll come up with something, though. I'm going to formulate a plan. Maybe we can put up some murals on the wall of like winter and just fool you. Okay. Live Megadoppler 7000 HD. It worked for me when I was a kid. Showing that we are dry at the moment. We do not have rain. We're not looking for any rain in this forecast, at least not right now. Things look pretty dry, but in the meantime, check it out. Beautiful image. This was sent in Robert Randolph, Redondo Beach. So when you have these cirrus clouds way up in the atmosphere, those are just ice crystals that you're seeing up there. You get these nice sunsets. The light refracts and gives us some really cool colors. And thanks for sending that in. We'll have a time lapse a little bit later on in the next forecast, so stay tuned if you want to see that. 86 was our high in downtown Los Angeles, still above average. 74 is where we would normally be, that's average. 71 now in downtown. A really nice evening ahead. This is a live image. I had to show this. This is another beautiful shot here, Burbank. Oh, just good stuff for the cloud cover right now. 84 degrees in Burbank. Everybody is seeing it unless you're at the coast. The coast has been pretty moderate in terms of the temperatures, but everybody inland has been 80s and 90s. We even had 100s or plus 100 plus, I should say, in Palm Springs because of high pressure. High pressure is our weather maker. It has been. It will be over the next day and then finally starting to relinquish its hold as low pressure starts making its presence, giving us, yes, like I mentioned, an onshore push. That means that the wind comes in off the ocean, and then we get the cooler weather, we get the clouds coming in. That mainly happens for the weekend, especially Sunday and Monday. Friday shows, though, high pressure is still our weather maker. So there you go on Saturday. You'll notice here, watching even some energy, just not a lot of energy, but just a little bit of energy move from the southwest there over to the east, and that's going to be, again, just an indication of that pattern changing. We like that. If you're done with, at least 84 is not bad, but if you're in Northridge tomorrow, 94 is going to be a little excessive. San Bernardino, 94. So watch out in some of the inland spots. It will be a sizzler tomorrow. The rest of us for Saturday and Sunday, everybody really can start seeing that cool down. We're at 72 on Sunday, in fact. By next week, Monday on, we're in the 60s, if you can believe it. Back below average, finally, getting to more spring-like weather. Valleys, i.e., another day tomorrow, sunny, hot. and then call it warm on Saturday, and then finally cooling off on Sunday. Next week looks really nice. Some cloud cover for you. No rain, though, unfortunately. The beach is nice and mild. You guys have basically been in the lower 70s for a few days. You're going to stay there for 2 more days. The sea breeze really kicks in on the Saturday-Sunday time frame. That's going to bring you down to the 60s for the rest of the forecast. The mountains, we'll see a mild day tomorrow and then cooler weather for next week into the 50s and maybe even some coastal slope, or I should say, yeah, the coastal slopes, even some fog in the high desert, breezy and hot for a few days. Back to you guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Breaking news right now in Athens, where the end of a pursuit, some suspects have been arrested, but still the search continues. Let's go to Bill Thomas in Air7HD. Bill?
David, the pursuit is pretty much over. It ended at 120th and Vermont at this grocery store at the Ralph's here. This is LA County Sheriff's deputies from the Sentry Station. They tell us they were chasing somebody for brandishing a weapon. They chased him here. Suspects got out of the car, and at least one person went into the store. There have been some arrests. I'm not sure if everyone's in custody, but they do tell us one person went in the car actually took off. So it did come to an end here, but the driver got away. Some suspects have been taken into custody. And as we open up in the parking lot here, a huge response by LA County Sheriff's deputies, and their investigation continues. Reporting live from Air7HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Bill, thank you. Orange County detectives are reopening a gruesome mystery that's 27 years old. The cold case murder dates back to 1988 when a woman's headless body was found in Santa Ana. Investigators are now hoping the public might help them solve this case. And Orange County reporter Greg Lee spoke with detectives who brought him back to the scene of the original discovery.
Obviously, it's pretty sickening that somebody would do that.
27 years after a gruesome discovery in this dry creek bed, the identities of the victim and killer or killers remains a mystery. On March 31st, 1988, a man walking his dog at Santiago Park in Santa Ana found a woman's decapitated body. This is video from an ABC7 report the day of the discovery. An exhaustive search for clues, and the victim's head came up empty until 4 days later.
8 to 10 steps to the east or this direction, that's where the head was found.
Detective Gus Morioki took us back to where it all happened. He believes the killer put the head there after the body was removed. Despite numerous sketches and DNA tests, attempts to ID the woman were unsuccessful. No family members came forward. The case was closed until recently, when Detective Morioki reopened it, hoping the public might recognize Jane Doe.
20 to 25 years of age, 5'3", about 130 pounds. She was either a female Hispanic or female Caucasian.
Detective Morioki is part of the Orange County Homicide Task Force, a new team devoted to revisiting crimes like this one. There's more than 1,000 unsolved cases countywide. The team hopes new advances and new clues can lead them to answers, starting with who Jane Doe really is.
We can come revisit it and test those new technologies to see if we can get further leads based on DNA evidence, fingerprints left at the scene.
If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call the Orange County Homicide Task Force at 866-673-2574 or visit their website, OCHTF.org. Reporting in Santa Ana, Greg Lee, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Up next, how a NASA space probe went out with a big bang today.
Plus, 30 stories in 19 days, how work crews built this skyscraper in record time.
And it's been 40 years since the fall of Saigon. Just ahead, I'll show you how the country has changed over the decades as they talk with survivors who found new hope for a future here in Southern California. NASA's Mercury Messenger has ended its 4-year tour at Mercury with a bang. The space probe crash-landed into the planet earlier today at 8,750 miles per hour, and that created a crater more than 50 feet across. Messenger became the first spacecraft to orbit Mercury in 2011, and since then it's circled the planet more than 4,000 times, collecting hundreds of thousands of images.
Amazing video. A Chinese construction company has built a skyscraper in less than 3 weeks. The 19 working days were not consecutive, but workers assembled 3 floors per day in what it considers the world's fastest construction speed. The company built the 57-story skyscraper using a modular method, which has been used for high-rise apartments in the U.S. and Britain. The quick assembly has become popular on Chinese video sharing sites since it was first uploaded on YouTube.
We're updating the evening top stories next at 7:30.
Including the search for a driver who ran over 2 women, killing one, the emotional plea from their families.
Plus, Southern Chile's volcano blowing its top again, and we're flying you right over it. Next at Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30, tense protests in Philadelphia as marchers walk through the streets upset over the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore. I'm David Ono.
I'm Giovanna Lotta in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. A crowd of people in Philadelphia is still marching. Earlier, they threw objects at police, and there was some brief pushing and shoving from both sides. Here in Los Angeles, a vigil and rally family is being held in Leimert Park in memory of Freddie Gray. The father of Michael Brown, the Missouri teen gunned down in Ferguson, is among those attending.
Dangerous pursuit today with a 15-year-old girl leading police at high speeds through Compton, Gardena, Linwood, and in and out of a park in Willowbrook, at times driving in the wrong side of the road and nearly slamming into a patrol car. The chase continued through the Irvin Magic Johnson Park in Willowbrook several times, forcing parkgoers to sprint for safety. The girl was finally taken into custody, and sheriff's officials say the chase began when the vehicle was reported carjacked.
The hunt is on for the driver of a car involved in a deadly hit-and-run in Homeland. Tonight, the victim's family is making an emotional plea for help. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the emotional story.
I don't know who would do this to such a nice lady. I mean, she never done any harm. I just loved her laugh, loved her smile, loved how she talked.
10-year-old Anthony Campbell is talking about his mother, 36-year-old Jennifer Blakely, who was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver.
Whoever hit her, I would like to sentence them to prison for life, because it wasn't on accident. If it was on accident, they would have got out of their car and helped.
It happened around 10:20 last night when Blakely, along with one of her friends, was walking down Sultana Street just north of the 74 in Homeland when the CHP says they were struck from behind. The suspect vehicle is believed to be a dark two-door coupe, likely an early 2000s Ford Mustang. This neighbor says he's seen that car in this neighborhood often.
At nighttime, they take it and they run it down Alicante and then down this street right here, but I haven't seen it during the day, and I don't know where it comes from.
If you know this person, call us. Let us go investigate it. No lead is too small.
The victim's husband, Scott Campbell, was too distraught to speak with us at length, but did say this about whoever's responsible.
I just want him to turn himself in and do what's right.
If it was an accident, then turn yourself in. Even if it wasn't an accident, the best thing is to turn yourself in because you took his mother's life.
She loved to make people laugh and always there to help. Just let us know why. What happened? Give us closure. We need to know why. What happened?
Please, everyone that's out there watching, can you please help? Help me raise money for my mom's grave.
Again, it's a dark two-door coupe, likely a Ford Mustang, and it's possible the driver does live in this neighborhood. Anyone with information on the suspect vehicle is asked to call the Highway Patrol at 909-428-5400. In Homeland, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The family of a homeless man fatally shot by the LAPD on Skid Row is filing a $20 million claim against the city of Los Angeles. A witness recorded video last month's confrontation between Charlie Canang and officers. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck called the shooting justified, saying Canang grabbed an officer's holstered pistol during the scuffle. Canang was released from prison a few months before his death. His family says he had reconnected with them and wanted to return home to Cameroon.
Charlie has made some mistake in his life, but was working hard to get back on his feet.
Two of the officers were wearing body cameras, but the video will not be released until after the investigation is complete. The LAPD is not commenting on the $20 million claim. And the last of 4 defendants has been ordered to stand trial for the beating death of a USC graduate student from China. Today, the judge denied a defense motion to dismiss the charge against 19-year-old Andrew Garcia. Garcia and 3 others are accused of attacking Xinran Ji while he had walked back to his apartment last summer. They're also charged with attempted robbery and assault with a deadly weapon for an attack on a couple of Dockweiler State Beach 2 hours later. All 4 defendants are due back in court May 14th for arraignment. And a manhunt is on for the suspect accused of shooting and killing another man at a bus stop in Southgate. Police released this sketch of the suspect wanted for the April 13th shooting at California and Michigan Avenues. 22-year-old Isaiah Ekwahua was rushed to the hospital where he died the next day. And if you have any information, please call Southgate Police at 323-563-5491.
Vietnam marked 40 years since the end of the country's civil war with a grand parade through the city formerly known as Saigon. Floats and red flags featuring the communist hammer and sickle made their way down the streets of Ho Chi Minh City. Goose-stepping soldiers and traditional performers also paraded past thousands of people, including the country's president and prime minister.
And it was a desperate time for so many. The fall of Saigon marked a bitter defeat for South Vietnam and the United States, but it also marked a new beginning for so many, not only in Saigon, now called Ho Chi Minh City, but also here in Southern California.
April 30th, 1975, Saigon, the capital of Vietnam, on the verge of falling into the hands of the North Vietnamese. These frantic images show the thousands of frightened people storming the gates of the American embassy. It was the end of the war and the beginning of a new era on both sides of the globe. Today, Saigon, renamed Ho Chi Minh City, is constant, frenetic energy. The first thing you'll notice, the astounding 6 million motorbikes swarming on its crowded streets.
Ho Chi Minh City has exploded since the fall of Saigon in 1975. 11 million people now live in this metropolitan area. It is the economic capital of Vietnam. They work hard for the money here for an average income of about $2,000 per person.
Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer Nick Ut is famous here, although he now lives in Los Angeles and regularly meets with old friends from the war.
1, 2, 3.
The people of Vietnam still know him for the Napalm Girl photo. Its portrayal of the innocent victims of war is credited with shortening a conflict that was already being called unwinnable.
Their struggle with the North Vietnamese was turned into a stalemate.
Get over there, come on!
There was no military solution to Vietnam.
America got out, Saigon fell. Ut remembers escaping to a refugee center at Camp Pendleton.
When I there, I don't believe see so many people, like 30,000 people everywhere.
There were so many Vietnamese, they called it Little Saigon.
They all worry about their family too there, but they're happy to come to the United States.
I was just struck by the sheer numbers of people at Pendleton.
George Lewis was a war correspondent and covered the camp.
I just remember them as being very hopeful while they were living in this kind of squalor of the tent camps.
With that hopefulness, they trickled into society. I meet Lewis and fellow reporter Peter Arnett in Westminster. It's here in 1975 that many from the camp started over, establishing their own thriving community, becoming the permanent Little Saigon.
It's astounding. I mean, it's a perfect illustration of the American dream. These people have thrived and prospered here.
But I'm so happy to see in Little Saigon, every Vietnamese, they have good business. The children, doctor, lawyer, everything.
4 decades later, communities on both sides of the globe are thriving. But, as Kim Phuc, that little girl, clothes burned off her body in Ut's famous photo, will tell you, it doesn't diminish how much the war still hurts.
I was 9 years old. Now you know how old I am. But I still suffer with that pain. It's not finished yet. I think we have to learn from the war that no one wins.
Kim Phuc is one of the few known survivors of napalm and now lectures around the world about war's innocent victims. There are now 200,000 Vietnamese Americans living in Little Saigon and almost 500,000 in Southern California. Two communities on opposite sides of the globe changed forever.
Good story, David. The Japanese Prime Minister has arrived in California for a 3-day visit that will include Southern California. At Stanford University, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said Japan has a lot to learn from the technical innovators of Silicon Valley. He plans to send representatives from 200 companies on visits there during the next 5 years. The Prime Minister arrives in Los Angeles tomorrow morning for a full schedule of appearances. And the skies over Chile are again filling with ash and smoke. An ancient volcano erupting tonight for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. It's sending plumes of ash 2.5 miles in the air. Thousands of flights have been diverted, thousands of families evacuated. ABC's Matt Gutman flew right over the top of that volcano.
Chile's Calbuco volcano again tonight breathing fire. The mountain belching smoke and ash miles into the air. Thousands of flights have been disrupted since this moment last week. A hiker capturing the mountain blowing its top. That black plume stretching over 1,000 miles. A second eruption the next day, even triggering its own lightning storm. So far, 4,500 people have been evacuated. Scientists say it was an eruption without warning.
It was a surprise. It was incredible.
After the volcano thundered to life, we flew over the destruction. From the chopper, we could see the flows literally boiling rivers and dumping a layer of ash and gravel 3 feet deep. And then we soared upwards towards the volcano.
The geologists here are using that infrared camera you see right there to try to get better readings of what's going on behind all of that smoke and that ash to better forecast what this volcano might do.
While they expect another eruption, scientists concede they don't know if it's hours or months away. Matt Gutman, ABC News, Miami.
Up next, why a mother knowingly invited registered sex offenders into her home.
Plus, officers go above and beyond to save a family from their home. It's all caught on camera.
Another hot one today. Temperatures were in the 90s again for a lot of us, but it is going to cool down. I'll tell you when, coming up in your 7-day forecast.
We have breaking news, a shooting investigation in Simi Valley. Bill Thomas is live overhead in Air 7 HD. Bill, what can you tell us?
Yeah. One person shot and killed here in this normally very quiet Simi Valley neighborhood. Simi Valley police officers tell us they responded to a shooting call at 7:03 tonight. This is the 2900 block of Deacon Street. We'll tilt up just a bit. You'll see firefighters. They've been dispatched. An ambulance was called out as well. What we can't show you is the body of an adult male just next to that fire engine. The body's laying there in that alleyway. The body's not covered. It's a very graphic situation, so we're keeping our shot a little wide for you, but the body is there. One person is being questioned now in connection with this shooting. At this point, though, Simi Valley police officers have not taken anyone into custody. The investigation ongoing, and we'll keep you updated this afternoon and this evening. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Bill, thank you. 2 police officers from a town north of New York City are being hailed as heroes. They saved the lives of 3 people whose home was full of carbon monoxide, and the rescue was all caught on one officer's body camera.
Ready, Jesus? Ready? No, stay out here. Ready?
The officers first rescued a 14-year-old girl. They then went back to get their mother and a toddler, getting them all into the fresh air.
Come on, buddy.
Come on, buddy.
I just feel very fortunate that I was able to be there and to help those people out.
The officers haven't been wearing body cameras for long, but they're glad the new equipment provided a dramatic peek at what they encountered that day.
A woman in Dallas hosted a tea party for registered sex offenders. She says she's trying to change how they're treated by others. Judith Saffron says a lot of her friends declined the invitation. Some told her they couldn't stomach the idea of sitting down with sex offenders, and they couldn't believe she would create a forum for perpetrators. But Saffron sees it differently.
They're not these terrible, scary predators. They're actually, they're people like we are. They're just like we are. They do look like us. They do have families and sit down and have dinner like we do.
I mean, the stark reality is the only conversation we have about registrants is, oh my gosh, they're down the road, or oh my gosh, they're here to get my children.
Over tea, people were encouraged to ask questions and start an honest conversation.
Up next, meteorologist Jonathan Novak looks ahead to the weekend.
And Rob Fukuzaki sits down with Manny Pacquiao for a one-on-one interview. We'll have that coming up in sports. Another hot one out there today. Here's Jonathan Novak with a look at your forecast. Are we expecting a cool down, Jonathan?
I am. I hope I'm right. We can all expect a cool down. Yeah, because we can't, go on like this forever in the 90s. I have some light at the end of the tunnel. It's sooner than later, but for today at least, Laguna Beach. That is a time lapse, in case, I guess you're wondering. But yeah, that doesn't happen in normal time. That is a time lapse from Laguna Beach and people enjoying the sand down there in the water. Hey, check this out. I want you to notice a couple of things. First of all, it was hot in Woodland Hills and Ojai. 93 was your high, and Ontario. But you go from Ojai down to Ventura, big drop-off. From the coast to the inland spots, there was a pretty good disparity today because the sea breeze was had enough of a presence that it's been keeping you guys at the coast cooler the last few days, but inland areas just haven't seen it yet, but it will happen sooner than later. Van Nuys is at 84, though, in the meantime, and tonight, and Long Beach is at 73. It is a nice, warm evening in the valleys, in the IE. The coast is going to be a little cool, and we'll have the marine layer back in place. Look at this. I want to show you the 24-hour temperature change. I like this map because it shows that this time last night, we were a little warmer. We are 6 degrees cooler right now than it was this time last night in Burbank. It's not a huge difference, but it's just an indication that we are starting a slow cool down here the next couple of days. I'll show you when it really cools down later in the forecast, but for tomorrow, it's still going to be kind of warm with high pressure over us. See this right here? This is that center of high pressure Thursday into Friday. It doesn't move much. See that? This is Friday in the afternoon time. So once again, another hot one. We'll probably knock off a couple of degrees off the temperatures for highs, but it's Saturday that we see a more significant cool down as high pressure drifts to the east. You see how it moved? That makes room for low pressure to build in. It brings that onshore flow back into play. And then Sunday, really cooling it down, and by Monday, we are below 70 degrees in Los Angeles. No rain, but I do have some clouds and maybe some fog in there for the coast and the foothills as well. So, the highs tomorrow, 84 in Los Angeles, is a 2-degree difference from today. Actually, it's going to be a little cooler. 91 Mission Viejo, 89 in Irvine, 70 forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. So, a cool down tomorrow. A little bit cooler on Saturday, and then even cooler on Sunday still, and then Monday it continues. So look forward to it. It will take a few days to step it down with those high temperatures, but we'll get there. Valleys and IE, another hot one tomorrow, and then mid-80s, we'll call that warm for Saturday. Mid-70s is mild and closer to average on Sunday, and then below average by next Tuesday, Wednesday. Notice the cloud cover. So no rain with it right now, but we do have enough moisture that will push in that we'll see some clouds around the area. The beach forecast looks good. Sunny and mild. So there you go, 73 and 70. Pretty much what you've been seeing lately. And then the weekend will really drop the temperatures off into the mid-60s. The mountains look nice tomorrow. Real pleasant. Coastal slopes could see some clouds on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with temperatures down into the 50s for you guys. In the high desert, the 50s. The high desert's 88 tomorrow, down into the 70s by Monday, and watch out for some winds kicking up. That's it for me. Back to you guys.
Jonathan, thank you. It is being called the fight of the century, and some people have gone so far as to describe it as the biggest fight in boxing history. Financially, it certainly should be, because it's expected to gross $400 million. Tickets to the fight sold out in a matter of minutes. 1,000 of the best seats sold for $10,000 apiece. Pay-per-view is $99. Fans who don't even have a ticket to the fight are flooding to Las Vegas just to join in the party atmosphere. Rob Okazaki asked Manny Pacquiao if he felt pressure being at his best on Saturday night.
We have a lot of responsibility, especially me, a lot of the whole country, and Asian people are excited to watch this fight.
How important is it for your legacy?
Oh, it's a really big important for me, for my legacy and the honor for my country, and of course a boxing history.
If you win, or if it's close, do you see it happening again?
We don't know. We don't know. So we'll see on Saturday.
I would love to win by knockout. You know, I'm going to press the attack early. I'm pretty sure he's coming. You know, at me extremely strong. So we'll just see how everything plays out. You know, I'm in tip-top shape, and I worked extremely hard for this fight.
The odds makers have Mayweather as the favorite, but who do the boxing fans like to win this mega fight? Rob found out if the crowd will be rooting for Mayweather or Pacquiao.
Oh, it's electric here. Absolutely. We flew in this morning, and we're loving it.
All I want to see is a good fight. Okay, who wins? Hopefully Mayweather, though.
Pacquiao split decision. Do you think there's more people cheering for Pacquiao?
Of course. A lot of people hate Mayweather. They just want to see him lose.
I'm definitely rooting for Pacquiao. I'm really hoping he wins. I want Mayweather to win.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's the best fighter.
You say you're kind of split. What's going on?
I got Mayweather.
And I have Pacquiao. Pac-Man all day.
No rip in the household because I know boxing more than she do.
Oh, that's not true.
You got a little friendly bit between you?
Yes, we do.
We do, but we can't tell you what it is.
Not on TV, not on TV.
Sounds like fun. The weigh-in is tomorrow. Rob Okazaki will continue his live coverage of the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight from Las Vegas tomorrow, beginning at Eyewitness News at 5 p.m.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. An LAPD officer is found handcuffed, bound, and murdered. For 4 decades, a case ice cold until the mystery begins to unravel. An Eyewitness News investigation. Plus, moviegoers weigh in on Avengers Age of Ultron. The movie is supposed to break records this weekend. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast. That's Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. A frenzy broke out on Twitter over Prince William and Kate's much-awaited baby, but it was all a misunderstanding. Kensington Palace sent out a Throwback Thursday tweet from when Prince George was born. Some Twitter followers jumped on the tweet thinking it was an announcement about the new baby. Palace officials have said Kate is due in late April, but today is the last day of April. Parking restrictions have been extended for 5 more days until May 5th. There was a birthday celebrated at the hospital today. Terry Hutt, a royal fan, has been camping out at the hospital and marked his 80th birthday.
Students in Van Nuys heard stories today in English and Spanish, all part of the second annual Bilingual Literacy Month campaign. Children's author Laura Lacamara read from 2 of her books at Cardenas Elementary School today. The school is the recipient of a 700-book donation for the bilingual literacy program Read Conmigo. Speakers, Giovanna, you're going to help me here. Speakers today also share tips and resources with parents, encouraging them to read to their kids every night at this crucial stage of child development.
Good for them, good for us, too, the parents. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next here on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
Good night.
This is ABC7 Weather.
Hey everybody, Jonathan Novak here. High pressure still in control. You've heard it all week.